How is it going, guys? Welcome back to Key West Waterman. My name is Aaron Young. First and foremost, first time watching, go subscribe and go ahead and hit the like button for the YouTube machine. It helps me a ton and it's free. So today we have a kind of a different style episode. We haven't done this yet. This footage is from the beginning of May on a commercial trip. I had a technical difficulty with the GoPro that was in the water. It didn't record any audio at all. So we were kind of deciding what to do with this footage. And it was incredible footage, crystal clear water, diving deep, a ton of black groupers. But a lot of you guys have been asking for a video with me narrating my dives and talking about what I'm doing, what's going through my head and all that. So we thought it was a great opportunity to do that. So that's what we're gonna do. This is an episode, like I said, it's all diving, black groupers. For you guys that like the commercial breakdowns, I'm still gonna throw that in at the end and check it out. Hope you guys like it. You guys gotta see this. Unreal. I couldn't find anybody to dive with me today, except my good trusty friend Will. Welcome back, guys. I'm speechless. Gonna take one more whack at the groupers commercially before they close it. Got word that the market's gonna crash again, so it's only about a weekend. Normally it takes at least a month, but considering the circumstances, it's understandable. But this is unreal. We're gonna dive. We're looking for groupers. A lot of you guys have been asking about muttons and a mutton video. Quite honestly, we kind of search for them the same way we search for groupers, but they are getting about half the price as groupers are right now, so we're not shooting nearly as many of them. But maybe I'll pop a couple if I see them for y'all's sake. Unreal today. Let's rock and roll. All right, guys, welcome back. I'm gonna give you some walkthroughs and stuff on these dives, these grouper dives. It's all grouper hunting this day. I'm the only one shooting. Will was just there as my safety. This is literally the first spot of the day, the very first drop. The bottom is 75 feet. My good friend Brandon left about a 40-pound grouper that tore out in this rock, so I wanted to go check it and see if by any chance he was there. When dropping for groupers, I try to stay as mellow as possible. This fish was just too curious. You can see he kind of gives me that straight on shot, which I don't like a whole lot, but he just quartered a little to the side there. If I can see both the fish's eyes, unless it's a big fish, I don't like that shot. He turned just enough to where I could hit him on the side, and I got a good shot. Luckily, didn't get wrapped up in those rocks. You can see there just at the front of the fillet, so not too much damage done. Nice, comfortable dive. Like I said, the bottom here is 75. This was literally the very first drop of the day. Will, my safety, they're waiting for me. This is my second drop, and you notice I lead with my gun on my entries. My gun's pretty heavy. If you've ever been down with me and picked it up, you can see I run it back past my body. And if I don't see a fish on my dive, I pull it up against me and try and stay tight and as small as possible. I pull it up against me right there earlier, and when I see a fish, I'll pull it out and try to engage it. I see a black grouper come right here on the top of the screen there. You can see him come under the ledge. This is a tricky shot. I hesitated a little bit, but it was kind of a bigger fish, and I didn't have it in me not to take that shot. Unfortunately, he wrapped up under that little archway. So first thing I do in this situation, I hate to leave a fish down there. That's how it gets sharked. I got my hand on him, and I pulled my knife out and cut that Dyneema. In one of my gear videos, I mentioned that I switched to Dyneema in the last few years, and that's one of the reasons why, because I can cut that right behind my shaft. On this dive, I cut it, swam back up with everything. I didn't leave that fish down there. If you leave that fish out exposed on the bottom, there's a good chance he's gonna get sharked. So I was able to, you can see there, I pulled my knife out real quick and cut the line and came back up with everything. That was a great fish. Nice black grouper. So this is actually the same spot. I just slid over just a little bit. That rock was off of the sand edge, and this is the actual patch reef that I was hunting. You can see I pulled my gun there again, pulled it up against my chest because I haven't spotted the fish that I'm interested in yet. Try to stay as small as possible, as calm as possible. No sudden movements. Just I'm not even kicking. I'm more just kind of like using my fins as direction. You can see this black comes in, gives me that head-on shot again, but he turned just enough You see another black took off there. Turned just enough to give me a quarter. If I can see one eye and not both, that's the shot I take. Those head-on shots, a lot of times you'll hit them. If you do hit them right, the shaft's gonna run down the fillet and it ruins the meat anyways. And like I said, I don't like to leave fish on the bottom, but that fish actually strung himself, which what that means is the shaft went all the way through the fish and he was just on the line. So the fish was able to get into a hole, which is fine with me because if the fish is in a hole, a shark can't get it. So I came back up, I left him down there. Wanted to get a good, nice breath for my return trip to try and pull that fish out. So pretty much I keep my line tight while I'm waiting, just so he doesn't get any more wrapped. Doing my breathe up, nice little turtle comes in here. Checking out the alchemy fins. Pretty sure Will takes a dive down. There he goes. Get a new Facebook profile picture. But I'm doing my breathe up. General rule of thumb for me is I do double the amount of my dive time on the surface. My surface interval, that's breathing up, not just time on the surface. I want to breathe up twice the amount of time that I am on the bottom. Like I've said previously, I'm not a professional, I'm not an instructor. That's just my rule of thumb. So here's my return trip. The fish hadn't moved in a while, so I let my gun go. Normally I'll follow the line down to keep them tight. I take my knife with me, ready out to go. A lot of times I dispatch fish inside the rock. It makes it easier to pull them out if they're they got their gills flared up or something inside there. But also I'm going down without a gun, so I like to have a knife ready just in case I have an unexpected visitor. Like I said, you can see here the shaft is completely through the fish. The fish is inside the hole just with the line inside of him. And it wasn't a very deep hole, so I was pretty comfortable with just trying to manhandle him out. I knew I put a good shot in it. I worked him out there and can actually briefly see another grouper take off there. The cloud of dust a lot of times will bring in more fish out of curiosity. They're looking for scraps. This spot is about the same. This is on top of the patch reef. The first spot was 75. I think to the bottom here is about 68, if I remember correctly. Another dive. I use my gun as my entry. The banana gun is extremely bulky. Like I said, if you've ever been down and put your hands on it, it's extremely bulky. Many people are surprised that it's the gun I hunt with. For whatever reason, I left my gun out on this dive. Typically, I pull it into me. Sometimes I leave it out. I'm not always consistent. I think I had a fish in mind. Try to be as slow as possible. This fish was kind of rushed. I should not have taken this shot, honestly, but I did. Luckily, the banana gun hit its mark. Kind of went crazy there. I got lucky. I tried to pull the fish up to me as fast as possible, mainly to keep the sharks off of them, and two, just to keep them from going in rocks. These groupers love to get inside rocks, and it makes it really difficult to pull them out. You can see I knew I had a good shot. The flopper had gone all the way through, so I was comfortable just kind of manhandling him off the bottom. And this is all on the same spot. I've been chumming. It was probably over the span of about an hour, hour and a half maybe. Kind of just patchy bottom, nothing special. A lot of bait on it typically, so typically it holds a lot of grouper and other species. Just kind of scanning. I had an eye on this fish, but I always like to scan around to see if there's anything bigger. He was real comfortable, so I took my time and I was real methodical with my shot there. And you can see I got a nice stone shot, which was always a pleasant surprise. I could tell that fish, you know, he was doing small kicks. He wasn't darting or being quick with anything, so I knew I had time to take a shot that I was comfortable with. First spot going very well. Can't see them all. There's a couple under in the ice. 5 blacks and a red on the first spot. I'm happy. Gonna slush this ice up, get these things cooled off. Keep rocking and rolling. Let's go. Just ran over that. New spot. Never dove it. Gonna have to check it. So this is literally a new spot. I've never dove this before. you can just see there is tons and tons of life. So I had to stop. The groupers like to eat. If there's that much bait, typically the groupers aren't that far off. Also, a lot of you have been asking me about, you know, how do you dive so deep? What kind of training do you do? Honestly, I don't do any training. I've never taken a class. I grew up surfing. I swam competitively in high school. I ran track, so my cardio has always been great. And it kind of just turned into, you know, making me a decent diver. I consider myself a much better hunter than I am a diver. Some of these divers absolutely blow me out of the water. So this fish kind of went up in that hole, and I got my gun tucked up against me, kind of Scarface style, because I think he's gonna poke out, and he pokes out over there. So I made a quick adjustment. Typically when they go in that hole, they're gonna come back out somewhere to see where you are and what you are. So I keep my gun close there, that way I can adjust if I need to, and you can see it paid off. I was ready. And the second he poked out, I was ready for him and got a good holding shot. Again, I don't like to leave fish down there. I don't ever push myself too hard, but if I can help it, I prefer to, you know, take a fish on one trip. And this is the same spot. This is just great bottom. It was a really big spot. I didn't see a ton of fish, but at the end, when I almost was about to pull my anchor, I saw one and he led me to more. I have the fish in mind here. You can see he comes up to me and turns, so I know he's comfortable. I didn't tuck my gun. This fish was curious, didn't feel like I was a threat. Kind of just swam off slow, which gave me the time to take the shot I wanted. Another nice stone shot. With the black groupers, I think the best way to get them, or get a good shot on them, is you have what I call the moment of curiosity. It's about a second or two, and if you can make that longer, obviously it's better, but typically on your drop, that grouper is going to be curious for maybe 1-2 seconds. First impression's a good one. Black's all over this thing. There's life, like crazy amounts of life. I've never dove this spot. I saw got these two nice ones. I saw probably 3 or 4 more. I'm gonna bump the boat up. They kind of were sitting in front of the boat. I'm gonna bump the boat up and try and chum them up, see if we can get the rest of them. Beautiful fish though. So again, on the same spot, there's just fish all over this. I typically don't completely decimate a spot if I can help it. You can see on the drop here, there's 2, 3, 4 black groupers. I'm going for the bigger one. He spooks off that fish. I can tell right away he's not having it. So then I look for who's the most curious. So I'm kind of just scanning around. Unfortunately for this guy, I probably shouldn't have taken this shot because this is a good way to get a fish wrapped. I got lucky though, he broke that little archway. So I was able to get him off the bottom. You can see how quickly I bring him back up to me because I saw that lemon shark on that dive. And I did not want to leave that fish down there. I got real lucky on that shot. This spot's just littered with groupers. It was absolutely insane. I saw probably a total of 15. Another drop, lead with my gun. You can just see the yellowtails are everywhere, which is what keeps the groupers around. That's one of their favorite meals. I'm just kind of scanning. All these groupers were so comfortable, I wasn't too concerned with, you know, trying to be stealthy. They already knew I was there. Pretty much scanning on this one. You can see a big lemon come in. You can see a couple groupers. There's one right there in front of me. One goes to the left, and this big one was extremely comfortable. I hate that head-on shot right there. I hate that shot. I waited, and it paid off. Got a nice stone shot on him. This fish is over 20 pounds. That was a very nice grouper. Again, those head-on shots, you can take them. A lot of times you have such a small window of error that you either hit them just left or just right, and you hit just meat and it'll tear out. So I like to wait till they turn. Another drop. I don't think I had a fish in mind on this one. I'm just kind of scanning. Like I said, these fish were super friendly. Oh, never mind, I did. You can see him, he just went in that rock. So I was trying to keep track of him. You can tell I've got my gun halfway, what I call halfway loaded. My left hand under the muzzle. There he went again. You can see his shadow. Left hand under the muzzle, right hand near the trigger. So when he does pop out, or wherever he pops out, I am ready for him. This grouper was doing everything in his power to elude me, which he was doing a great job at it. So you barely see him. He passed through these, you see the shadows of him. It kind of might be hard to see on the footage. I think my dive's over. I'm looking around, he pokes out up here. Still had plenty of air left. He wasn't too concerned with me, so threw a shot at him. Luckily he didn't rock up there. I tried to pull him up as quick as possible to keep those lemons from bugging me. And that was another great fish to end a great day. They're the frigates. That's so cool. I think we're gonna end it on this spot. Those 5 blacks off one spot. What a fun day. Hit 4 spots total, 2 spots Lily, did not see a single fish. First spot I got 5 blacks, last spot I got 5 blacks. 4 spots total, lots of chumming. Plenty to sell to the market. I'm happy, had a lot of fun. Thanks for being my safety, Will. We'll see you at the dock. Oh yeah. So I've got the commercial breakdown here. First things first, let me know what you guys thought about that. Like I said, this is our first time trying it, so take it easy on us. But if you like it, I'll start peppering those in. I know a couple other of the spearfishing pages are doing them. But if you like them, I'll keep doing them. And keep sending me the new ideas. I'm doing my best to pump out videos. I'm slammed with charters right now. This footage, like I said, was from the beginning of May, so I was doing more commercial. Right now, I am absolutely slammed with charters. I'm just happy to be back to work, doing my best to keep the videos coming. And like I said, keep the ideas coming. I'm not getting to them as fast as you probably like, but I am writing them down. They are all in line, and I'm doing my best to get them all out over time. But I've got the commercial numbers here. Like I said, great day. I was spearing by myself. Will was with me, obviously, as a safety. I don't ever dive by myself, and you should never do that. Will was being my safety in the water with me. I had 131 pounds of grouper for total sales of $687. After expenses, the boat profited just over 550 bucks. I was just right off of Key West, didn't burn a lot of fuel, didn't burn a lot of chum. So it was a stellar day. So, as always, thanks so much for your time, and be sure to hit the like button and leave me some comments. I will see you guys next time. Later.